see you because he's light to bright. Good morning, Allen County. Are you here?
Yeah.
You know what? Much like Richard Murdoch just told you, I set my calendar to this, and let me tell you, there is no greater fan of Allen County Right to Life than Jackie Walorski over there in Elkhart County, and I can't wait every year to join your ranks. Now let me just tell you something. We got to take 2 seconds and echo what Representative Marlon Suchman just said, which is there is no greater advocate in the state of Indiana for pro-life legislation, for a woman that will stand up every single year and take it in the teeth in that legislature and testify for the causes that count for life. And that is, take 2 seconds with me to recognize Kathy Umbarger, who will never be forgotten in the state of Indiana. See that I wore my yellow jacket this morning because I was confident the sun would be out. And we drove over this morning on snow-covered roads and we got to Fort Wayne. It's like, doesn't it figure God smiles on Fort Wayne on the March for Life and there's sun in the sky, and it was much nicer than where I left the second district. So I think the Lord is with us today because we're doing the right thing for the sake of right. True? Mm-hmm. How many of you we're excited about waking up this morning and knowing that it's a great honor and privilege to be an American and to be able, in the land of freedom and liberty, declare our voices together that life is worth fighting for, the United States of America is worth fighting for, and you put on your coat and you walked out of your house and you came here and you were excited about hitting the pavement and knowing that every time we make a stand, a united stand for life, that life counts, and we are going to win this battle. How many of you knew that when you got up this morning? Let me tell you something. Over the last couple of years, as I've had the privilege and honor to join you from outside of this area, we have won more victories than we have suffered by loss of defeat. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's the grassroots Americans, it's the number of feet that are in this building. We are making a difference by changing our laws at the local and state level and putting pressure as Americans on our federal officials, even with the most pro-choice president in our history, certainly in my generation. We are making a difference because we're holding our folks accountable, and we're basically saying to this land that if push comes to shove, we are united as Americans to stand for life, and we're not ashamed of that. We have a backbone to stand up and declare that we have an opinion too. And every time you hear on the news from a liberal media that this issue is no longer valid, that it's an archaic issue, that people simply are over it and they simply don't care. And when they say to conservatives running for office, you can do whatever you want, but just don't talk about that issue. Well, guess what, folks? I came to join you today to let my voice be heard as well as one voice coming from Allen County, that we will win our seat in the 2nd District, and we will have another pro-life, unashamed to say that life is a gift from God, and in a very vocal and visible way, we're going to go to Washington in November and add another vote for life in this country. We find ourselves in a situation in this country, folks, where our very Constitution is under attack. The destiny of every individual American is now under attack. And for those of us that are standing for the unborn and for life to continue till natural death, we have been under attack for a long time. But you know what? There's a day coming of reckoning. It's called the election process in this country. And you know what? The halls of Washington, which are clueless about what affects Americans, the 5-alarm fire that's blazing in our hearts as to why we came today. They're not only going to hear it in Washington, they're going to hear the voice that's standing for the unborn from New York to California. Folks, they're going to hear from Montana down to Texas, and they're going to know in the halls of Washington, regardless of who stands as the president of this country, that never again will we allow the decisions to be made that have been made in the last 4 years. And I just happen to believe that when the Lord said in Jeremiah, I knew you from the day that you were in your mother's womb, and I have a plan for you, and it's going to be a successful plan. I happen to believe that's true. Do you believe that's true?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. I only have a couple of minutes to be with you. It's an honor and a privilege to stand and share a platform with Kathy Umbarger. It's always an honor to stand before the greatest pro-life group in the entire state of Indiana. And I have learned so much from you, and you've helped us so much in the state of Indiana. I just ask you to do one more thing for me. When you think about it and you think about this country, pray for us as we get into November. And just be assured of this, there will never be a day that goes by when I sit in those places and declare from my mouth that life will reign and the spirit of life is breaking forth in our country. I will always have you, Allen County, in mind, and I will always fight this fight and know that I am standing always with a good couple thousand people that have made a difference. So let's do this. Let's change our nation from the grassroots up. Let's send a message like the Founding Fathers did, and let's take back and fight for the United States of America, because this country is worth fighting for. God bless you guys. Have a great walk.